Hey, what's going on, my Evolve St. Louis City fam? So, this is the first episode of In Case You Missed It for 2021. So, as a reminder, again, I'm Kelly, and my job is to attend the meetings so you don't have to. So, I'm providing you with a rundown of what has transpired in St. Louis City government this week. So, first and foremost, I attended a total of three meetings this week. Two of the meetings were aldermanic committee meetings, and so really quickly, so people kind of have an understanding of why do I attend these committee meetings? So within the Board of Aldermen in the city of St. Louis, you have your Board of Aldermen meetings, which are on Fridays. However, the committee meetings really allow for the alder people to really discuss their bills in greater detail, more so than that may be discussed during the full Board of Aldermen meetings. So, that's why I really attend the meeting, so I can get an understanding of what's in these bills, and also to see sometimes there is public comment allowed, and to really hear some of the questions and the concerns and the issues that are not only raised among the public but also our elected officials. So. Again, I attended three meetings in total. Two were committee meetings. So the first committee meeting I attended was the public safety meeting, and y'all, I can't lie, that wore me out. That meeting was 5 hours long, and for four and a half of those hours were really focused on one bill in particular, Board Bill number 200. And so, if passed, this would approve a contract between the city of St. Louis and this company called Persistent Surveillance Systems, also known as Community Support Program. And the contract would allow aerial surveillance, so literally planes basically, flying over the city, and they would gather information, and the information gathered from the surveillance would only be used essentially for solving crimes. So, super controversial. Again, as I mentioned, you have 4.5 hours, a combination of listening to public comment and then also listening to the Board of Alder people, providing their 2 cents and things of that nature. And so, there was an overwhelmingly, you know, I guess most of the public that provided their comment were against the bill. They were opposed to the passage of this bill. Um, However, in spite of that, the committee, they did pass the bill with a do pass recommendation for the full Board of Aldermen. So other bills that were passed out of the committee that weren't as controversial. So there were three other ones. So one would approve funding for a lead hazard reduction program, or excuse me, a lead hazard reduction grant in the amount of $2.5 million from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to support the city's efforts in their lead remediation programming, because lead is real, unfortunately, in the city, and its adverse impacts on the babies is long lasting. So that passed out of committee. Another bill is funding for the 2020 Operation Legend program, which totals about $838,000. And this would really increase the manpower of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, by offering additional federal officers with the purpose to reduce violent crimes and, increase prosecution of folks. And then lastly, we've got funding for the Project Safe Neighborhoods program, and that total is around $123,000. And that will go towards supporting gang task force efforts as well as enhanced enforcement within the target area. And again, the purpose is to reduce crime. So that was a public safety meeting. The second committee meeting I attended was the coronavirus special committee meeting. It was pretty straightforward. Their bill that was presented was for grant funding, totaling $200,000 from the CDC Foundation with the project name of COVID-19 Care Kits for Faith-Based Communities. So the City of St. Louis Health Department will be partnering with the Clergy Advisory Board to provide COVID-19 care kits for faith-based communities in the city. And essentially these kits would include, PPE, so hand sanitizer, reusable masks, stuff like that. And the grant will also fund evaluation to see if these efforts were effective. So that was passed out of the committee. And then today we had our Board of Aldermen meeting. I will say one thing. These older people, I guess they've been working during their break with the introduction of bills. There were 34 bills introduced today. And there was a variety. There was a little mix, a little mixture of bills. But I will say that roughly 1/3 of the bills that were introduced involved redevelopment in predominantly Black wards. So I will repeat this. Of the 34 bills that were introduced, basically 1 out of 3 of those bills involved redevelopment in Black wards. So I'm just putting that out there. So some of the other things that were mentioned in these bills, there is a lot around traffic control. So adding some barricades, closing access to some of the streets down, adding stop signs. So there are quite a few bills introduced regarding that. There are also some bills introduced related to housing discrimination based on natural hairstyles, as well as folks that may have experienced domestic violence and some other issues. So there are some bills about that. There's also a bill introduced, if passed, that would enforce a moratorium. So new businesses would not be allowed to apply for liquor licenses for packaged liquor in the first ward. So that was introduced today. And then another bill I thought was interesting that was introduced would provide a change in our food code. So there were a couple bills passed this morning, but the one that I'm really going to highlight is the one approving a redevelopment plan in the fourth ward. And something to keep in mind, the fourth ward is where 3 St. Louis public schools may potentially close. So, I'm well out, y'all, from attending these meetings this week. That's all I have for you. Stay tuned. I'll be back next week. So until then, please stay safe, stay well. Peace.